Hey, and welcome to my channel about living in and moving to Denver, Colorado. Today is a super fun one of inexpensive things to do around the Denver metro. So whether you live here or just visiting, these are amazing date night things that are not going to cost you an arm and a leg to be out in the community. Let's get into it. Martineau, also known as the Real Estate Gal. If this is your first time tuning into my channel, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you get notified every time I release a video, which is twice a week. And as mentioned, my nickname is Katie the Real Estate Gal. If you need help with buying, selling, or anything in between, I would love to earn your business and showcase how much of a value I can be to you. So I'd love for you to reach out with my contact information below. Call, text, or email, whatever is best for you. Now, regardless if you are visiting or relocating, or if you already live here, you obviously need activities to do to get acclimated with being in Colorado. So we're going to be covering a fair amount of topics that are really inexpensive, and it just gets you out and about and amongst everybody else that enjoys being outdoors. The first topic is movies. During the summer months, and sometimes spring and fall as well, movies in the park is a super duper popular thing to do. One of my favorite areas to go to is Red Rocks. They do Film on the Rocks on Monday evenings. Tickets are about $20, and they have a set schedule of all the different movies that they are playing. And then you can buy drinks and food, bring blankets and pillows, kind of cozy up, or just get together with friends. Enjoy beautiful scenery with the downtown Denver in the background and these gorgeous rock formations around you. Another area you could go to is the Milk Market area. There is the Maven Hotel that also does movies every Tuesday, and it's $10 to see the video, and then the concessions or the snacks and drinks then are included in those tickets. The Hawkins Theater is also another really great one to check out because on Tuesdays they have their $5 Classic Tuesdays, and so it's $5 to see somewhat of an older movie from the 80s or 90s, but those types of flicks are always super fun, especially in the summer months. We have been having record high heat, and it has been kind of uncomfortable, and so what better way to spend a evening than to be in an air-conditioned movie theater enjoying a flick from the past. Now, unfortunately, closing this year, we have the Denver Mart Drive-In, which is kind of in the Commerce City area. Unfortunately, that land finally sold. It has been up for sale for quite some time. They finally figured it out, and there was a news article that came out that that drive-in movie theater will be closing, I believe, after this summer. So try to catch a flick before they close down. Another one that's mentionable is Infinity Park, which is located over near Glendale. And Infinity Park is actually where the Colorado Raptors play, which is our rugby team. So they set up this giant blow-up screen, and they have food trucks, just like Edgewater Public Market also has an area for a giant blow-up screen. And then you got Sloan's Lake in the background. So those two locations have a ton of different shops and bars and restaurants around. So you could always get a bite to eat and then lay out your picnic blanket and enjoy the flick. And speaking of laying out your picnic blanket, I'd recommend Jazz in the Park during the summer months. So every Sunday at 6 o'clock, there is a huge grandstand that is occupied by some sort of musician. Sometimes it's like kind of a mariachi band, and sometimes it just has some different vibes to it. And you can look up those schedules just like all the movies ahead of time, but you can go set up a volleyball net, bring a picnic basket. I don't believe that there is a spot for grills, but there are a ton of different food trucks. And then you literally listen to Jazz in the Park while you enjoy your time with family and friends. There are tons of families and couples, and because it brings so many people, I would highly recommend getting there a little bit early. So one, you can get a good spot to hear the music, which it is amplified, so you will absolutely be able to hear it. It's just whether you want to see it or not. But number two is parking can be a little bit nightmarish. So this area near City Park, they know that Jazz in the Park happens, and so they have put up street signs so that you have to have a permit after certain hours in order to park in those spaces. So getting there early, making sure you're compliant with parking is a really great strategy to know ahead of time. If I ever have friends or family visiting, I love to take them on the Coors Brewery tour. It's relatively inexpensive. It's pretty cool to see that the Coors Brewers Brewery is local to Golden, Colorado, and they use a lot of the water that comes from the mountains and the runoff. And of course they filter it out, but they use that for their beer. So the mountains are blue, it's the Rocky Mountains. So a relatively inexpensive tour, and then you get a beer at the end, which an ice cold beer as a reward. Who wouldn't want that? And then you're in beautiful Golden. They have a historic downtown that you can walk amongst the shops, the mom and pop type stores, get a nice burrito, or there's a couple bars there with live music. Golden, Colorado is a really great kind of central area between the downtown Denver area and the mountains. So Golden is definitely a spot to check out if you're visiting. It kind of has some different vibes to it that I totally forget that is a great place to go for lunch or just a drink. It's so close to downtown, maybe about 15 minutes or so. You just take 6th Avenue, and there's a lot of history there. They did a lot of gold mining. So add Golden to your list of places to check out. Another thing to do that is relatively close to downtown Denver, as well as it's not too far into the mountains, is the Georgetown Loop. It's a train that it's an hour-long kind of scenic view of the mountains, and they have open air carts. They also have a couple that are covered as well, and it just takes you on some train tracks around the Georgetown area. A girlfriend and I did kind of a little bit of a photo shoot. That was super cool. It didn't take a ton of time. It wasn't very expensive, and we got to see beautiful leaves when they were changing colors in the fall. I believe that train is open until October or so, and then it closes down for the winter months. But a majority of the people that are visiting here or that live here, they love to be in the mountains. So this is a really great, easy way to be close enough to Denver so you're not driving 2 or 3 hours to get really deep into the mountains and still get that mountain experience. Another thing that is on the Front Range kind of area is the Buffalo Bill Museum at Lookout Mountain. So Lookout Mountain is a really great hike for people that are potentially newer to hiking, or maybe they just flew in that day or they're just visiting. It's relatively easy. It's not a lot of elevation gain. It's a lot of scenic views that just go for miles and miles. And even if you're not getting out of your car to hike, you could actually just drive through the mountains and see the beautiful scenery. So there is Better Mansion, which is a historic mansion that's in the mountains. And then right next to that is essentially Lookout Mountain and Buffalo Bill's grave. There is a tiny itty bitty little museum as well, and you can just get the sense of the historic feel with all of the artifacts and the story of Buffalo Bill's Wild West TV show. Driven by downtown Denver, or if you already live here, you know that Elitch Gardens is in the heart of downtown Denver. You can see the roller coasters and different rides. They have a water park area as well as dry rides. So Elitch's can be a little bit expensive. Some people do get a season pass, or there are discounts that you can get from either discounted days or mailers potentially. But still, it can be a little bit more expensive than maybe you want to spend. So you could try out the Lakeside Amusement Park, which is super cheap. It's $3.50 for admission, and then ride tickets are only 50 cents. Now, of course, there's not going to be as big of a variety, but you could go on a couple rides, get your fix, maybe a corn dog or some cotton candy, and that is also relatively close to downtown Denver. We're finishing up with 2 more so adult activities to do. One of my favorite arcade places is called One Up. There are multiple locations. There's one downtown Denver in Lodo. There's one on Colfax, as well as a little bit south in Centennial. And what it is there are kids that are allowed there, but they also have alcoholic drinks. And depending on the location, can be open until 2 a.m. So you're gonna have Buck Hunter, Miss Pac-Man, kind of those classic games. They also have a giant Miss Pac-Man, and I believe it's like 8 or 10 feet tall, as well as a ton of pinball, one of those little photo booths that prints out your 4 sets of photos.
Oh my God, we are so random.
Tons of games, and it's kind of fun to feel like a kid again. Now, if they're open during the day, you can expect probably kids will be there, and then it kind of has a little bit of a turnover, almost like a Dave & Buster's. The later you go, probably the fewer kids, but it is a bar, and then they also serve some really great fried foods like chicken tenders, french fries, jalapeno poppers, and then things like chicken sandwiches and burgers. final thing that we'll talk about is Urban Putt. Urban Putt is super awesome because it's $11 for 2 people. Super great date night spot. They also have a ton of different bars around. Oh, Urban Putt is mini golf. It's indoors and it has a little bit of a Denver theme, and it's known as high-tech mini golf. So they're not open super late, and I would recommend reservations for that. But in addition to Urban Putt, which it might not be associated, but every so often there are pop-up mini golf courses that are also indoors. So there was an Alice in Wonderland theme, there was a Harry Potter theme. I think that those theme events are super fun. You got to keep your eye out for them though, because they only come to stay for maybe a month or two and they get super booked up. But it's of course a fun activity to do with friends, or if you're on a date night, it can kind of break the tension if it's a first date type of thing. Now, of course, there are all sorts of more inexpensive things that I would love to cover, but I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. But a couple other mentionables that you could do are Denver always has food festivals. There's the Denver Wine and Food Fest. There is a barbecue competition that takes over in Power Field. A super fun one was a grilled cheese competition, which holy cats, do you feel full after eating so much cheese and carbs after that event. But you can normally expect craft cocktails. There's really cool craft cocktails in cans, as well as microbrews, mixed drinks, beer, wine. Denver is definitely a food-focused type city. So in saying that, we have so many things going on. I post every single Thursday on my Instagram, which is Katie_real-estate-gal, on things that are going on around town. Sometimes I'll incorporate different venues that are hosting events such as Mission Ballroom, Red Rocks Amphitheater, at the convention center, and then I'll also do kind of food festivals that I wouldn't want people to miss. Another competition that just happened was the Rare Steak competition. So you go around to different people that are cooking steak in different ways, and you get to try a ton of different samples. So I think it's super fun to compare and contrast different chefs and try a variety of different things. So follow me on Instagram if you want to be notified. On Thursday, I post on my stories, as well as on Wednesdays, I send out a weekly newsletter that has events and highlights, things that are going on around town, in addition to other things like housing news and a featured home of the month, housing tips, setting expectations on inventory. So if you want to be added to that, please reach out to me. I need your first and last name as well as your email address, and there is no limit to how many people I send this to. And then of course you can unsubscribe at any time. So in saying that, I appreciate you watching this video so much. If you need any real estate help, like I said, I'd be honored to earn your business and showcase how I am a great resource for you and will get the job done the right way. Or if you need any event recommendations, let me know. I have a whole list of different things that you could do around town, depending on where you are. So just send me a message and we'll go from there. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.